So these are the 3 panels I'll be working on. They're each 36 by 36 inch, and currently they're in acrylic. I hope these will be part of my Lexicon series. They're larger, being 36 by 36 each. I've numbered each panel number 1, number 2, and number 3. Hi everybody, this is Pam Coey. Just a quick preview as to what you're going to see in this video. Today started like any other day. You know, I come into my studio and I work into paintings that have been started a while ago. And in this case, I've got 3 paintings and I decided to work on 1 out of the 3. And that's what I just showed you. However, I did not know that by the end of this video that I'm going to show you, that I would go from what I thought was just an average old start to a major catastrophe. I couldn't say that while I was painting it, but I certainly felt it. I guess you'll just have to watch the video and find out why. And I will explain why at the end of this video. Why I feel like where I left this painting at the end of this video, part 1, is a major catastrophe. It's really important to know why something looks pretty ugly, but then to also know how to fix it. So that's kind of where we're headed. At this point, they're all at a very early stage, and so I would like to add more layers to them, get a little bit more complexity, get a little bit more going on before I decide to add my letters and numbers and things like that. So that could include a collage, but I'm staying with this palette that I started with for most of that Lexicon series. And so over here is my table. I've pretty much reorganized my studio because we have 2 new puppies and a new kitty, and they're currently all in my studio right now. Puppies are sleeping, so I'm keeping my voice down just a little bit, but these are the colors I'll be using. And this is my cart that I can move around as I need materials, and depending on what medium I'm working on. So if I'm working on cold wax and oil, then I take all the acrylic off the top and move my cold wax and oil to the top. So I'll give you a couple different views as I paint, and I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks everyone. Well, here goes. I'm going to keep my voice down just a bit because our puppies are still sleeping. I hope you can hear me. I've got my palette set up over here, and I'll show you a view of that, my colors and my palette, my wet palette. And I'm using various types of markers here. These are the refillable. I get these on Dick Blick. This kind here. It says acrylic on it. I think it's a Montana refillable. Has all different size tips. And you just take the tops off, and it's kind of like a felt tip. And then I've got Poscas, which I haven't found to be terribly like waterproof. So these are markers I have to fix, but I do like to use them. Here's another acrylic refillable. You can put any color in it you want. You can also replace the sponge tips when they get, you know, kind of worn out. So with this first piece, I'm thinking that there's a lot of gray. I've gone over a lot of color. So now what I want to do is put back a lot of color and a lot of like more black and more line and various thicknesses of line. So let me start with this refillable acrylic again and see. I like to test the tip. So let me test the tip and see how strong that mark is. Test it over here, and it's a pretty nice mark. Sometimes I have to charge it, you just press down like this. But I think that's pretty good. So let me just try that. Let's see here. I'll just step back a little bit. And I don't care if the line quality is, you know, perfect. I really just want to get some movement back into this. Can restate like this. I have to press firmly so you can charge it. I might get a drip if I charge it here like this, which is fine. It's a nice dark line. All right. Now, I'm going to grab my airbrush medium over here. I'm going to try to make some of these marks run. I don't know if they will or not. We'll see. Yeah, I just kind of want to mess up some of that line. So kind of whatever happens, happens. Now I can take any color really. This is a deep, let's see, quinacridone violet. And I could take a dark. I also like to use my papers, my brown papers. So I'm going to just add a bit of color here. Here's my brown paper. It's just painter's paper. Everybody asks me, but it comes in different lengths. And I'm going to just tear some of this off. So what I'm doing now is monoprinting. And there's a globby drip up here, and you probably can't see it too well, but it's thicker and it is dripping, and I like that. So instead of using a monoprint paper like this, and that's what I've been doing is monoprint, I'm going to hit that with some airbrush medium and encourage it to flow a little bit. See if I can get it to do that. It may or may not work. That's okay. We'll see what happens. So now I kind of reassess, and it's like, well, what don't I have? And I'm not seeing enough of that, like the green and that aqua that I like so much. So I could use the same paper like this, or I could just save this for collage. I think I'll just lay that on the floor and let that dry. I'll do the same thing with this is my green, yellow, and this is a Nova color. I like to put it in squeeze bottles so I can just squeeze the color out. I don't want a lot of this color, but I do want some. So let's see. Let's straighten it. Can you draw with it? My paper. Okay, so there's the monoprint paper here. I'm going to save that too for collage. I've got the smaller Montana acrylic marker here, and it has a different tip. It's flat, and you get a different mark with it. So you can use the tip, the corner. You can use the corner of like this this edge here to get a finer line. So like this. Use my left hand. It's making marks. Here's the tip, but you can always like clean that off. It gets full of paint, so you can go right into the wet paint with that. Here's a smaller tip. You just shake it up. It's a Pasca small tip. And you can see it hasn't been charged because it's white. And now, let's see now, after charging it, it's a black tip. Okay, now I can write and draw with it. I can make small marks. Not that it really matters, but again, I'm just adding to the layers here. So it really doesn't matter what I do. All right, now for some aqua. I might use some paint here. So I'm going to just squirt some of this paint out here. It's going to mix with the black, which is still wet, and that's fine. So I'm trying to get some more painterly marks now, and now it's mixing with that yellow orange, which is nice. It doesn't matter what I'm doing here. Just picking up some other colors and making them more complex. Come on top of those desaturated colors and create emphasis. Again, not thinking, just reacting and observing. There is a difference in not thinking some white. So I've got my brush, my airbrush medium. I can't even read the label. But if I squirt some of this here, encourage it to drip. I can get it to do that. A little bit of dripping. I can draw with the aqua as well. Here's the paper again, my monoprint paper. Now what? What don't I have? Well, how about some of that nice red on a vertical wall? So in some ways, and I could have this on the floor, but right now it's on the wall. So I'm just going to keep with the wall. Okay, it's looking like quite a mess, isn't it? Okay, don't worry. Here's that monoprint paper. I have to stand back and show you. It's kind of fun. All right, now it's getting really crazy. I might need to let this one dry and come back into it. You can see how much it's moved forward, which is really great. It's gotten more layers, more complex, more crazy, more to respond to, more to see. I've got leftover paint, and I like to just use it up before. I don't want to have to clean it up. I could put it on the other two panels, but I want to stick with this one for now. So I'm just going to come in here and add a little bit of some quiet. I guess one more thing I'm going to do, what I don't have, is I'm going to add some white, titanium white. going to drag down. Okay. I'm going to drag to the right. A different kind of effect. Now I can draw through the wet side by pushing on the back side. Well, what did you think so far? Let me know in the comment section. Things got pretty hairy toward the end. It's pretty rare when I feel this gut feeling of this is so ugly and so bad that even though I feel like I can get myself out of this big ditch I've thrown myself into, it's really rare when I look at a painting and I just can't almost find anything good about it. It's rare when that happens, but it happened with this painting. So I kind of thought this is notable and I should explain why I feel this way. So let's take a look at that painting where it is right now. I'm going to walk you through why I feel it's a total catastrophe, but I'll also explain why it is that I love this kind of a challenge. And it's why I feel ugly is such a good and important stage. I want to really drive this point home to any artist that's out there. If you ever get stuck, and you're usually stuck because you feel like your painting is ugly, right? And you just kind of, everything shuts down inside and, you feel like you want to leave the studio and never come back. But in my case, I oftentimes will challenge myself to get to that really ugly stage. I usually am not as successful as I was in this painting. I mean, I really achieved it this time. But the good news is that everything inside of you is fighting for this painting to survive. And the only way it's going to survive is if you can put into it who you are. And that's why it's so important. You hit rock bottom. It's like a survival thing. If this painting is going to survive, you're going to have to give it everything you've got. Everything you've learned about color and design, your life, your history, what you care about, the colors you love, the designs you love, the shapes you love, the textures you love. That's what's going to save your painting. And in this case, that's what's going to save this one. I already know how it ends. It's actually hanging in a show right now. So I know that I was able to rescue it. I have been painting long enough that I know that no matter how bad a painting gets, I don't care how ugly it is, I can always get myself out of a fix. And I want every artist out there to feel the very same way, because there's never a reason to throw anything out, ever. Okay, so let's talk about this painting where it is right now. Okay, so I guess I will just run through some some things that are happening here in this painting. It definitely looks like a 3-year-old, was probably ready for a nap and went a little too far. I am using the same palette as my entire Lexicon series, which is the Cad Red Deep, the yellow orange, the yellow green, the aqua, black and white, and the purple. There isn't much purple showing in this one, but in any case, I know that it does have some, repetition with variation with like, say, these red marks here. And I use the monoprint, which is something that I really enjoy in any painting at almost any stage. But I think the reason I feel like it's so ugly is because there is no resting space. There are no resting shapes that I can, sort of just rest from all the busyness. And it's not that I don't like an all over pattern. I do like all over patterns. I love Jackson Pollock's work, for example. So right now it isn't all over pattern, but I think the colors are not working for me. It's funny because when you use a limited palette, you think that it's a given that everything you do with that limited palette, especially if you've used it before, which I've used it so many times now. I've done at least 12 Lexicon paintings and they're all done. But what I didn't push in this case is like the variety of, say, the reds. It's like red is red, but there's no tints, tones, or shades of this cadmium red deep. It's just sitting there, the solid color. On the aqua, I mixed it probably with just white. So you're looking at a tint, but I didn't vary it. And the green, same thing, straight out of the bottle. It's as is. It was never mixed with the aqua. It wasn't mixed with the red. It wasn't mixed with this yellow orange. And so that's what happens when you throw a bunch of colors down. And if you don't understand color, typically this is kind of what we end up with. And the colors are not harmonious right now because they don't share anything in common. The way to get them to become harmonious, and at least the colors, get the colors working, is to have them share something in common. But because they weren't mixed together with each other, and because they weren't mixed with white or black or gray, they are what they are right now. I guess if I were to try and find anything positive about this, it's that, wow, that's a tough one. I do like some of the mark making that's going on in here, but given that this painting, like I want this to be part of my Lexicon series. So if you know what that series is, and they're all over my YouTube channel, I think I showed you the entire series of 8 or 9 paintings. They're based on typography, letters and numbers and things like that. So right now, none of that is really in here. So now I know that to pull myself out of this catastrophic ditch, I need to start thinking about the Lexicon series and what it means to me. And for me, it means, okay, those shapes that I love and those mixed, sophisticated colors that I love. And, thinking a lot more about value, the lights, the midtones, and the darks, and how I want to arrange them. Pattern. I love pattern. Where is pattern going to occur in this painting? So those are just a couple things I just wanted to share with you, because if you've lasted this long, I figure that you might be wondering how I'm feeling. And oftentimes when I'm recording a video, and I'm recording this right now, far removed from the time that I actually painted this is like months later, I can now be very objective and tell you how I really felt, which is something I don't always share in my YouTube videos because I don't really know how I feel at the time. I'm not really giving it much thought at all. But looking back, I do recall that sinking feeling when I turned off the camera and I thought, wow, this is like one of the ugliest paintings I have ever done. And even though it's just a stage, I just, again, encourage you that I will show you how I pull myself out of this ditch. And I want to show you this so that you know that you can do the very same thing again and again and again. It's a confidence builder. So thanks very much. I'd love to know in the comment section what you think about everything we've discussed in this video. Bye for now.